Economic Forum was founded in 1971 by Professor Klaus Schwab. It initially started as an annual gathering in Davos, Switzerland, aimed at bringing together leaders from various sectors to discuss pressing global issues, and over the years it grew exponentially, with several nations all throughout the world joining and wanting to be discussing sort of issues, but pressed into doing so. And this spanned from Africa, Asia, Latin America, and even India, in addition to annual meetings in China and even in the United Arab Emirates. The WEF also provides a plethora of reports and engages in members and sector-specific initiatives. On the surface, it appears as a platform for dialogue and cooperation, but a deeper analysis reveals concerns that it may pose a threat to human civilization. One of the central tenets of the WEF's philosophy is the idea that the world's challenges are best tackled through a collaboration of multinational corporations, governments, and even society organizations. And this vision is expressed through the initiative like the Great Reset and the Global Redesign. While cooperation is essential, there are valid concerns regarding the implications of placing such a significant amount of power in the hands of a select few, particularly multinational corporations, whose primary goal is to often profit. And that's what we see with people like Klaus Schwab, George Soros, people that are in positions of power that have no interest but to profit and make money for themselves. Critics argue that the World Economic Forum has become a symbol of corporate capture of global and democratic institutions. The close relationships between powerful corporations and influential politicians raise questions about whether the interests of ordinary citizens are adequately represented. There are also concerns about organizations' tax-exempt status and lack of transparency in decision-making processes, membership criteria, and all sorts of things that they really just don't tell us. These can undermine the principles of democracy and accountability, which are crucial for the stability and the progress of human civilization. Moreover, the annual meetings in Davos have faced scrutiny due to their substantial environmental footprint and the associated public cost of security. In a world grappling with the urgent need for sustainability and environmental protection, it's essential to question the environmental consequences of massive gatherings such as this. In response to the criticism, the Swiss government took a step to reduce its annual contributions to the World Economic Forum, reflecting the concerns within the Swiss society about the organization's impact.
People assume we are just going back to the good old world which we had, and everything will be normal again in how we are used to normal, in the old fashion. This is, let's say, fiction. It will not happen. I see the need for action. I see the need for a great reset, which means to exercise here true global citizenship. Why not to tie government aid to the green economy which we have to create? Why we are here when we talk about the great reset, to talk also about innovation. How can we do things differently from what we used to do? And if we speak about differently, it means also how can we do it to make sure that
you will own nothing, and you will be happy.
The rising cost for companies to send delegates to the World Economic Forum from $70,000 US in the early 2000s is now $120,000 US in the year 2023. And this also raises questions about inclusivity and the accessibility of the forum. It's becoming an exclusive club for the wealthy and powerful people of the world that are marginalizing those who are not a part of the circle. And now in conclusion, the World Economic Forum is undoubtedly serving as a platform for discussion and cooperation on the global challenges. It's not necessarily immune to the criticism. The concentration of power and influence, environmental concerns, and lack of transparency, and the financial considerations all contribute to a perspective what sees the World Economic Forum as potential threats to human civilization. We need to critically examine its impact and continue to push for transparency, accountability, and inclusivity to ensure that this is genuinely serving as a purpose of the people and serving our best interests at heart. So that's just a brief history of the World Economic Forum. I have not gotten into some of the dark things and very ominous things that they publicly said. And one of the things that is very mind-boggling and makes you very uncomfortable at night is the fact that they say in 2030 you'll be happy and own nothing. These people want a one-world government, cashless society, no private ownership, where everything is controlled by one person and subsidized by one group of people. They might try to sit here and say they have your best interests at heart. They'll tell you all sorts of things like, oh no, we're gonna gather as countries, we're gonna have some serious discussions about some serious issues, but then they're really shady behind the scenes. They'll say things they don't intend, And the results are really concerning. Like, you see China buying farmland. You see all these leaders, all these multinational corporations purchasing vital amounts of land in the U.S. And not only that, what they do with this is when they have control of the land, they have control of water access. That's when it's prone to manipulation and corruption. Obviously, we know that, illness is profitable to these medical companies and the pharmaceutical industry. It ties together, really, when you think about it. There's been so much information that's came out, especially when you talk about the vaccines, mRNA vaccines into the blood, how it disrupted DNA and essentially makes you non-human. These people, the World Economic Forum, are promoting this. They're promoting a one-world government, like I said, cashless society. They want everything centrist, and they don't want anything to be publicly owned. They want everything to be through them. They don't want anyone to be able to communicate in ways that is going to be disruptive to them. They essentially want full control, and they said by 2030 they're going to make that happen. They want to make us eat bugs. They want to take away meat. And like I said, this goes back to the farmland being bought up by China, the CCP, and Bill Gates, and large people who are affiliated with the World Economic Forum. It's really concerning to think about that these globalist people have so much control and power over the world, and so much undisclosed information. Most people don't even think about the World Economic Forum. Most people just think that, the president has control and each nation is sovereign. That's not true. They buy and sell out to these corporations, to big pharma, to these really private institutions like BlackRock. They have shady deals behind the scenes, and part of which is why we're in war right now, and there's so many things contributing to national distress and so many dangerous things going on globally. And if a country like the United States is fully corrupt and manipulated by something like this, then every other nation probably has to be as well, considering we have one of the largest GDPs in the world. China is very affiliated with this organization. But like I said, the one country that did opt out, and they're very decentralized, and they're all about secrecy, and not really in a bad way, but they're about protection of their people. And they understand what sovereign ownership is, and that's Switzerland. There's a reason they have a really good economy. There's a reason they don't have very high crime rates. It's actually a pretty good country in general. And there's also a reason that people launder their money through there, because again, the Swiss people are not about attacking their own people. They're about freedom. They're about individual sovereignty, individual rights. The Swiss people aren't going to dive into your business. They'll turn their head the other way unless they really need to, which is really cool. It's a very libertarian type of, you do it yourself mindset, which is pretty respectable. So like, that's the country that decided to not send as much money to the World Economic Forum. They've slowly gone away from them because people like Klaus Schwab, George Soros, they openly say that they want people to eat bugs. They want people to own nothing. These globalist influences are extremely concerning.
What would you like to see as your legacy in 10, 15 years?
Of the new work?
Of the new work,
yeah.
Of your new function.
Well, I set very ambitious goals because I'm quite optimistic. If you look at, say, the 20 diseases that our Global Health Program goes after, I'd hope that within 15 years, over half of those, we could have had a very dramatic impact. Some of them will prove to be harder than others. For example, AIDS, we will have made an improvement, but not the dramatic improvement probably in that time frame. Malaria, perhaps, and a number of the other ones, we have things in the pipeline. So, huge change in the mortality rates in developing countries, which then has this effect of reducing population growth. That's this big benefit that then makes everything like education and nutrition a lot easier. So I have very high expectations there, and we actually use these dashboards internally at the foundation to make everything be quite numeric. We're trying to be rigorous about that and even share those so that people can see, oh, you fell short of what you had in mind, and then we get to explain if we have any lessons that might be learnable from other foundations. So I think there's some things about how we go about things that I hope those learnings can have an impact. There's the specific work in the different divisions, health, development, and the U.S. education work.